Okapi. The Okapi was well known to the ancient Egyptians, although it was not native to Egypt, and of course, to the pygmies who lived in the same Central African forests. Europeans, however, didn't believe the pygmies' stories. They considered the Okapi to be a mythical creature and even called it the African unicorn. In 1890, Henry Stanley explored the jungles of the Congo, and he became interested in a native word, Okapi, which he misheard and wrote as Ati. The pygmies used the word both for the non-native domestic horse and for another, large animal they occasionally caught and ate. A certain Sir Henry Johnston, who was to become the governor of Uganda, read Stanley's book and became obsessed over the strange creature. He managed to find tracks from the animal as well as pieces of striped skin, which, according to the pygmies, belonged to the mysterious Okapi. Finally, Johnston managed to get an entire skin and a skull. He sent them to London, and scientists were utterly surprised. The animal was incredibly similar to some fossilized remains of an ancient giraffe relative, found in 1838 in Greece. The mystery was solved. The mysterious African unicorn did exist, but it wasn't a zebra or horse, but the last and only living relative to the giraffe, Takin. In the well-known Greek myth of Jason and the Argonauts, Jason is sent by his evil uncle Peleus into a suicidal mission to get hold of the Golden Fleece. This was the fleece of a semi-divine ram named Chrysomelis, who had been sired by Poseidon himself. Some experts believe that the legend of the Golden Fleece was inspired by the golden coat of a real animal, today known as golden takin. This animal is found in the Himalayas. Although described by Western scientists in 1850, the takin has always been somewhat of a legend. In Bhutan, its origins are said to be supernatural. It is said that in the 15th century, a powerful and wise lama visited the country and was urged by his followers to perform a miracle. Eventually the lama accepted and told them to bring him a whole goat and a whole cow. People did as he asked, and the lama, much to the amazement of everyone, ate all the meat of the goat and cow, leaving only bones. But this was not the real miracle. Once he finished his unlikely meal, the lama took parts of the cow and the goat and pieced them together, forming a new animal. Then, with a snap of his fingers, he gave it life. The strange resulting animal was the takin. Due to this interesting legend, the takin is a most revered creature in Bhutan and is considered the national animal in said country. Komodo dragon. It is said sometimes that Komodo dragons were discovered by a downed pilot from World War I who swam to a remote island in Indonesia and reported seeing giant reptiles in the island's coasts. Unfortunately, no one believed him. Other versions say that the dragons had already been reported before, and that eventually the rumors of land crocodiles and prehistoric monsters roaming Komodo and the nearby islands became too persistent to be ignored. In 1910, a Dutch lieutenant decided to go to the island and get evidence of the creature's existence. He succeeded, and sent a photo and the skin of a gigantic lizard to Bogor, Java, where the director of the Zoological Museum described it formally for the first time. Later, in 1926, a much-publicized expedition to Komodo resulted in the capture of 2 live specimens. This expedition inspired one of the most famous movies of all times, King Kong, which was also about prehistoric animals found in a remote island. The movie's director even wanted to have Komodo dragons in the movie, but this was ultimately not possible, and he replaced them with animated dinosaurs. Komodo dragons are the world's largest lizards. One modern-day myth about them is that they lack venom, and that their victims die of blood poisoning thanks to the deadly bacteria in the dragon's mouth. Although it is true that dragons have plenty of dangerous bacteria on their saliva, recent studies have suggested that they are also able to produce powerful hemorrhage and paralysis, inducing venom, making them the largest venomous animals alive. Giant squid. One of the most famous mythical sea monsters is the kraken. Legends of this formidable denizen of the sea, armed with powerful tentacles and strong enough to sink a ship, were told in Norway and Iceland, and according to modern scientists, were based on sightings of the giant squid, Architeuthis. Since the giant squid prefers to live in abyssal waters, it is almost never seen alive by humans. Even so, dead specimens are sometimes washed ashore, and so the existence of the creature has been reported since ancient times. Pliny the Elder mentioned them in his treatise on natural history, and said that they could grow up to 9.1 meters long. Now we know they get bigger. In 1861, the crew of the Alacton dispatch steamer had a close encounter with a giant squid, and even managed to get hold of a piece of the animal's tail. However, they were ridiculed by scientists, who told them that such a creature was against the laws of nature. Even today, the giant squid maintains its semi-legendary status. We all know it exists, but it has been called the most elusive image in natural history. It was only in 2004 that the giant squid was finally photographed in its natural habitat. Giant panda. Today, these mostly vegetarian black and white bears are among the most famous animals in the world. However, they were practically unknown for centuries, even in China. Indeed, although Chinese artists have constantly depicted black bears and bamboo forests since ancient times, the giant panda was never depicted until the 20th century. Rumors and reports of a strange white bear found in Chinese mountains were regarded as myths until 1869, when French missionary Armand David sent the skin of a hunted specimen to Europe. It was only then that pandas were finally accepted by scientists as a real animal. Giant pandas were finally seen alive by a European in 1916, when German zoologist Hugo Weigold got to see and buy a cub. As an interesting side note, giant pandas are known in China as the Great Bear Cat. This is because pandas have vertical pupils, just like cats, but unlike other bears. They were once thought to be giant, aberrant relatives to the raccoon, but DNA testing has proved what seemed obvious from the beginning, that they are a true, if unusual, member of the bear family. Beaked whale. The Xiphias, or sea owl, was a legendary sea monster, described in medieval times, which was said to have huge eyes and a beak-like mouth, hence its name. The creature was described as being of enormous size and able to destroy a ship if enraged, although fortunately it was also extremely difficult to see. Today, scientists believe that the inspiration for this myth were the little-known beaked whales. These mysterious cetaceans look like giant dolphins, but are not related closely to them. They live in deer waters and are rarely seen in the surface, although they, of course, need to breathe air, as do all whales. Most of what we know about them comes from dead specimens washed ashore. Some species are only known from carcasses or even bones found in some remote beach. As a tribute to the mythical creature, one species of beaked whale is called Xiphias by scientists, because they were mythical creatures in the past and they are semi-mythical even today. Scientists would give anything to know more about these huge creatures, but the sea owl doesn't seem willing to reveal its secrets just yet. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.